Hello, everyone. How was y'all's week? This is Anna from Lunchtime with Anna. I truly have thought of each and every one of you guys. I really do. Whether you guys believe it or not, when you guys comment and whatnot through the different social media outlets, I do. I sometimes I think things will come to me. I guess that's part of following our Father Christ. Before we get started, the shirt I have on is, and let me lower the screen, is done by Samori McPherson, Elevated Shift. And you can reach him at elevatedshiftembride@gmail.com. He does do all the shirts that I use. He does really good work. And I always say support people who are up and rising, and as they support you. So thank you, Samori. I appreciate you. My next topic I wanted to talk about real quick was coronavirus is still out there. You are a walking time bomb, especially to people that do not know they have an underlying cause. Please continue washing and sanitizing as you should have already been doing. But please consider other people and what you don't know that they may have, and wear that mask. And clean your hands or wear gloves. I personally wear gloves. I'm constantly taking them out. I've bought a few boxes since March. And look at a YouTube video with the correct way to wear gloves and not keep contaminating areas, please. I have a cast here from Love, Song, and Power. Today I'm interviewing Heather Stent, Joseph Reyes, and Josh Berceau. This movie, Love, Song, and Power, I'm so looking forward to coming out in this movie. I mean, the cast, everyone I've met thus far has been like awesome. So I'd like to introduce them. Heather, are you on air?
Uh-oh.
Is anybody on air? Josh, are you on air?
I heard her.
I thought I heard her too.
I'm right here.
Okay. Hi, Heather.
Hello. Sorry about that. My cheek hit the mute button.
Oh, you know what? I should give you a few minutes. And I forget that, and I should know that because I come out on that morning show, so on the Morning Glow. So I should consider that. Heather, please tell us about what it is that your role was on Love, Song, and Power, or is. And with that being said, with the role you played, what was the most difficult part of that role?
Well, I wear a couple of different hats with the movie. I'm the line producer, so I really do a lot of the managing and arranging of behind the scenes and gathering people together and making sure people can be at the shoots. So I do enjoy the acting aspect of it also, but I generally take just small roles. I learned earlier on that you can't do both at the same time. You can't do behind the scenes and then put your acting hat on. I mean, some people can, but it's very difficult. So if I'm going to do acting in a scene, I'm not playing the behind the scenes role during that scene. So I can focus on the acting side of it.
Absolutely.
I play just a regular person attending a bar, and I have a short conversation with a barkeeper, and that's about it for my role. I do get to talk, which is kind of fun. This is going to sound really silly. I'm not a graceful person. The hardest part was getting into the bar stool without looking stupid.
Please tell me you didn't have to. Did you have to practice?
Climb up in the bar stool, just a certain way so you don't look clumsy and you look like you know what you're doing. And
Absolutely. And I'm one of those like really clumsy people. So especially when I was younger, I think I've gotten better with age. but I would always stumble. And, I was just one of those, I always think of like the movie Clueless, where you got to kind of think and, be like, okay, how do I do it? But that's pretty cool. So were you like, okay, let me practice this while you were at home and your time, or wherever you were at? Were you like, okay, let me practice this, and would look at yourself, or did you just do it like impromptu there on the movie script or whatever as you guys were filming?
Well, I hadn't been to the bar itself previously, so I didn't know how the setup was. And
Absolutely.
at the time, because we had to make a little bit of adjustments here and there, I really wouldn't have been able to practice ahead of time because, I didn't know if I would be starting sitting down or anything along those lines. So when I did find out how he wanted me to come on scene, I did practice a few times while they were going over the camera angles and things like that. I ran through my part just to make sure that I can, do I climb up on the bench with, the step with this foot? Do I use that foot? Or, depending on the camera angle also. So I practiced when we were there.
Absolutely. And you know what? It just always seems like it's just like so so fun. So you always think about it as if when you were, because is this your first, well, let me ask you that while I'm asking this question. Is this like your first time filming, or have you done more roles previously?
This is not my first. My family all kind of just dabbles in it, I guess, for lack of better words. It started, we originally came from California and moved to Florida, but we didn't do any acting of any kind in California. It wasn't until we got to Florida. My youngest wanted to start modeling. She saw a stage in a mall, and okay, that looks like fun. Let's try it. From there, she was moved on to another event, which opened up auditions for her and the family. We were like, it would be fun to be extras. Let's try it. Where that moved into a larger role. And that's how I met Eric and Prana, was originally from the first set that we tried out for, auditioned for a role, which ended up becoming larger roles. So this isn't the first one, but I don't do a lot. I don't necessarily pursue the acting side. It's more of which I think it's fun. I like small roles here and there. But I don't think I would be comfortable with a large role, at least at this point in time, because of my experience, etc. But I enjoy the behind the scenes. I like to see how it all comes together. I like to talk with everybody. Now, the guys here might say that I'm not the friendliest person like Eric and Prana. I don't intend to not be friendly, but I'm very business. I have to, if there's a problem, I have to make sure it gets done. I make sure it says people are where they're supposed to be, so I'm a very blunt, straightforward person. And I have to remind people I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just trying to get stuff done. And I have to remind myself in emails, etc., that we are having fun, and hi everybody, I hope you're doing well. And people need that stuff, and and I have to remind myself it's not just business. We are having fun. So
absolutely.
Can I comment?
Yeah. So Eric and Fred bring. Oh, sure.
Of course.
Well, Heather, you are friendly. You get down to business. These people need to be told what to do. We need to be told what to do.
Absolutely.
You are friendly about it, and business-like and professional, and you're very well loved. I mean, I don't. Anyway.
Well, I appreciate that, Joe, because sometimes I feel like I'm just stern, and I have to remind myself. But I enjoy it very much, and I enjoy being with the people. So hopefully that shows.
Absolutely. No, you know what? And sometimes I think some people, and I'm one of those people, like as I'm preparing for my show, I kind of get all, but it's not that I'm mean or anything. It's just I like things organized, and I like things in place, and I like to know what's going on, and I like to, in my mind, pre-plan, because if things are all over the place, it upsets me, and it upsets me in a way, not that I'm upset at anybody. It's just, for me, I have to know what's going on next. I like living my life organized. I don't like, going here, there, everywhere. I don't like that feeling. So I totally understand you, Heather. I totally do. I wanted to move on, Heather, and stay on there because I'm going to ask you a few questions in a bit. Again, I wanted to move on to Josh. Josh, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Could you please, and then this is Josh Brousseau, you guys. I want you to please tell us a little bit about your role in the movie. And I know you guys have been told already not to tell the the listening audience too much, or the watching audience through social media. So what, for you, what was your role, and what was the most difficult part in playing that role?
Oh, wow. Well, first, again, my name's Josh Brousseau. Heather, love her to death. She's our awesome producer. She's also the one that issued our NDAs, so there's not a whole lot I can get away with on this phone call. Let's see here. My role was Danny. Danny's a musician, does it as his lifeline. He meets Prana's character in a bar in the club she performs in, and they kind of have this very intimate working relationship with each other. I think Eric had called me. I'd met Eric on a show we did called Solace a few years back. I believe that's where I met Heather as well. And he called me and he said, "Hey, do you want to be in a movie?" And I said, of course. I try not to turn anything down. And
That's right. Bucket list.
What would you be willing to lend your music talents to the movie?
Awesome.
And I said, well, because in my other professional life besides acting, I'm a full-time musician. So I said, of course, because to me that was the beautiful scenario, was to blend music and film into one. I mean, that was something I'd always dreamed of doing. So of course I said yes, and we kind of hit it off there. And he said, "We'd love for you to play piano on camera." I said, "Wow, I would love to do that." So the most difficult part, I would say, would probably be trying not to overthink playing piano on camera. I don't understand how it's easier to do it live. It really is. I think it's easier to do it live than it is to do it on a camera.
Yeah. Well, because it's one of these things, I think, because it would happen to me at the beginning with my show a lot. It's kind of the whole idea of, okay, how are people perceiving me right now? Or this is what I really look like doing this. And I never really realized that this was me, especially when you're watching yourself, since we've been home from the whole COVID and airing from home. It's been a lot different for me, getting used to the whole idea of, okay, I see me, I can see everything, everybody can see me as well. And sometimes, it just gets a little bit uncomfortable. It's not anything negative or bad. It's just, I totally get it. Trust me, I totally get it, especially if you're introverted. Many of us are, and that's, it gets overwhelming. So anyways, and then, tell us a little bit about who it is that you are, Josh. Like, what, if you can tell your fans anything about you, what would it be?
About Josh or about me as Danny?
About Josh. Well, let's stick. Let's stick to the movie. Let's stick to the movie because we're doing love, song, and power. So if there's anything that you can tell, is what, pursue your dreams, what would it be?
I think, looking from the perspective of Danny, I think music is kind of the blood that runs through his veins, and he's recognized that from a very early stage in his life. So I would say follow your passion. life is too short to not be happy, and to really just always understand, at least for me, which is kind of something I can relate to in my personal life as well. Music is the same way for me. So I've found any times that I've been going through a rough patch, or especially right now, with this really, really, you know, turbulent time, I guess you can call it.
Absolutely.
There's not a whole lot of positives sometimes that you can grasp onto, but music has been one for me. So I would say find your passion, stick with it, and just be faithful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's pretty much the way we have to look at times now. I mean, everything is such a mess out there, but just continue staying positive, and yeah, I like that. I like that. And can I ask you one more question before I move on to Joe? How long have you been playing your music for? Like, how long have you been playing your piano?
Well, there's three instruments that I play. I play acoustic guitar, piano, and I sing classical voice. I've been trained in classical voice for 9 years. I perform professionally all around the state, whether that's in operas, whether that's solo gigs with symphonies. So let's see. Voice, I started singing when I was 3. Guitar, I recently picked up about a year and a half ago. And piano has always kind of been hand in hand with voice, because when you're reading a piece of music and you go, "Ooh, I'm not sure what that note is," it's helpful to be proficient in piano to go over and plunk out some notes. So it's been in my life for a very long time.
I know, and music is like the best. I mean, you can use it for anything, when you're angry, when you're happy, when you just want to dance. I mean, it can be used in so many ways, just to meditate. It's just something so positive in all of our lives. I had another question for you, because you are a musician. How much of your character is actually you, and how much is acting?
So there's this will be my 9th film that I've been in. So I've had quite a range of characters that I've had the opportunity and the pleasure of playing. There's always a balance that I have to find between myself and a character. Some are more similar, some are less similar. I would say this out of all of the films I've done is probably the most similar to my human self. I think, and in a way, that can be a very liberating feeling. It gives you a sense of freedom, especially working with Eric and Edel, the directors. They give such a freedom on set to kind of do, obviously, things within the confines of the script. But I would say this is probably the most similar. And it's just a really cool experience to be able to kind of blend your interests and your passions into one, and just kind of see it come to life with some amazing people.
That makes absolute sense. That makes absolute sense. Now, next, and stay on air, please, Josh, because I have a few more questions for you. We have Joseph Reyes. And Joseph, I wanted to personally thank you for calling in again, because it was getting so interesting, and I hate that, you're having to try to get in twice now. So thank you. I appreciate, you taking out of your time. So Joseph, last week you did mention to the listening audience that you played the role of yourself being a psychologist. Is that correct?
Is Heather still on?
Yes, I am, but you're welcome to say,
I only received a few lines. I know nothing about the script, so I don't know what I can and can't say.
Oh,
So,
okay, gotcha.
I'm not a psychologist, but so yeah, I was just a psychologist directing a meeting.
Gotcha. Okay, so you technically, like, you've seen the script, but you haven't technically done it.
I've seen a few lines of the script.
A few lines of it, so you personally haven't filmed it yet. So Okay, now this changes this question a little bit around, Joseph. You kind of so at least, okay, since you haven't filmed it, I'll switch it around a little bit. Maybe it'll work this way.
Joe filmed his scene. He part of that AA meetings that we were talking about last week. He was one of the characters that was leading the meetings.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Technically that type of thing, but whichever one we go with, he was one of the leaders of those meetings. Okay.
Okay. So then if you could, well, then she kind of answered that. I'm going to skip to the next question. So, Joseph, besides the love song and Power, are you currently working on any other projects?
Yes, I'm working on a short film. I don't know what I can tell about that. It's about the butterfly effect, how one small thing you do can change your entire life. So we're working on that right now.
And how many, and I know you guys are very limited at what you guys can say, so, and the audience understands that. It's like, zip, I can't say till it's time. So I totally understand that, and I'm sure that they do as well. How many projects have you done altogether since beginning your career in acting, Mr. Reyes?
Between writing, producing, directing, filming, 16 maybe.
Wow, so you've done like different
I wrote.
Go ahead.
I wrote, filmed, directed, starred in a short of mine. It was a finalist in the Los Angeles Film Festival. Didn't win, but at least it got pretty far.
Well, that's something that you can put. I always say, put it on your bucket list. Don't ever say no to anything, you know. Just say yes. I'm like, yeah, try it out. At least you could say I tried it, I didn't like it, or I loved it, or whatever the case may be, you know. So yeah, so 16, that's a lot. That means that you know, and I always tell people, I'm like, when I see actors and people that do any type of performing arts, you know, anything that has to do with the public, a lot of times I notice that they're very creative. Like everybody does more than one thing. They're always doing some type of project. So that seems like that's you. Am I right, Joseph? I was going to call you Joe.
Yeah, that's me. I say 15, 16, but that doesn't mean I have a huge role in them. Sometimes I'll just be an aerial photographer. You know, sometimes it's small things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, and the way I look at it is you do these roles, and then it's like sometimes, and then I've been meaning to ask each and every one of you guys, and I'm probably going to go around and ask everybody this. Have you ever been like so much into a role that you come home and you still think you're like doing the role? Like you're still in acting mode? Or have you guys ever found yourself like that or no?
Yeah, I wish my wife could answer that. Yes, I've done that a few times. It's kind of funny.
I know. Tell me one time. Give me a story. Quick one.
The meaning of life. Oh, okay. So the meaning of life, a short I wrote, it was about an archaeologist, professor. Mm-hmm. And I would just come home and start speaking like a professor, and I don't normally speak that way. And you know, they would crack up. Nothing much.
They're like, "What's wrong with you?" I love it. I love it. Heather, same question for you.
I wouldn't say that I have necessarily because of my lack of experience, but I definitely practice at home. But I notice it's a whole lot easier to rehearse with my children than it is my husband, because he just makes faces at me and makes me laugh, and that makes it quite difficult to actually rehearse the character.
I feel like you're not helping, honey. You're not helping. What's going on? Trying to focus.
Exactly.
Help me focus. That's pretty cool. Exactly. That's pretty cool. And
And
for you, Josh, same question. I'm sorry?
can I comment about
Of
Heather?
course. Of course.
Okay, so she's being very modest. A film we worked on together, a full feature. It's on Amazon, whatever. But she ran the whole show and jumped into an acting role and cried on demand. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Can't do it, but I've witnessed her do it and do an incredible job.
So
Well,
are you
thank
saying she doesn't give herself as much credit as she should?
Mm-hmm.
Is that true, Heather?
Yeah, what he is talking about, I did end up doing a lot more acting than I originally expected. And looking back, I was like, wow, that isn't horrible. But it was a lot of fun, learning experience to say the least. But so there's some tricks to the trade to make yourself cry, Joe.
Well, share them with me later.
I think us women are more emotional. It might be a little bit easier for us, you know?
I'm sorry, I
might be
missed
what?
what you said.
I was saying, I think us women are a lot more emotional. It may be a lot easier for us.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, same
Well,
question
it
for
also
you.
had to do with kids, so that made a difference for me.
You what?
It had to do with children, so that made a big
Oh, see, yeah, the nurturing in you. Yeah, that makes sense. So for you, Josh, same question.
Yeah, once. Yeah, once. I flew up to Virginia for a film, and I got there, and they wanted to change the script. The director approached me and said, "Can you cry?" And I said, "Sure." Like as anybody is, like, okay. I mean, I knew I could. I knew it would just take maybe a little bit of preparation. So I went to my hotel that night, and I hydrated. And the film that ended up going to a few film festivals and winning awards, including in LA, was about losing my father. And my dad in my life, I'm so fortunate that both of my parents are like my best friends in my life. So the idea, just the faint idea of losing a significant other, specifically them, was devastating for me. So fast forward, sure, I get through, I cry, whatever, it's just part of life as an actor, I guess. And I was on the plane home, and I was bawling. I could not stop crying. And of course, you're catching weird looks from people because they're like, what is wrong with this kid? But, and I'm just like, I could not get myself out of that headspace. And I finally got home, and I think I gave my dad probably the biggest hug I've ever given him. Just because I was just so, I don't know. But yes, once. It only happened once, but when it happened, it happened.
Yeah, and I could just imagine. So you're on a plane, everybody's probably looking at you, and they're probably wondering, what's going on? Is there any way that I can help? And you got some people that are actually like that they'll ask, are you okay? And then it's like,
Right.
hey, yeah, I'm just on a roll. Like I'm still on that roll mode,
Yep.
That's
Oh,
funny. That's funny. My next question, and I'll start with you, Josh. And all of you guys are in Florida now, is that correct? Or you guys travel from different areas? Or would you guys rather?
Florida.
So everybody's in Florida. Yeah. One day I'll be back home. Huh?
I'm in Georgia now.
Oh, you're in Georgia, Heather. Okay. You're in Georgia. And I know that Joseph is in Florida, correct?
Yes, correct.
And you as well, Josh?
Yes, ma'am.
So was this like a big thing when you guys, a big deal for you guys when you guys like first met Eric? Was it, or did he just make it as like they say, as chillax as possible, as relaxed, or was it more like, "Eh, that's Eric, I gotta be careful what I do and what I say," or was it more laid back?
No, so I knew I had previously stated I had worked with Eric on a previous project, and this was when I was still finishing up my degree. I got a call from him, and as soon as I got a call from him and he offered, I immediately said yes, because I think honestly, Eric and Edel, I've worked on a lot of sets with a lot of different people, and I think that they are probably the most laid back in a professional sense. There's two laid back, and I've seen them both. There's laid back as in lazy, and there's laid back as in the freedom given to people to perform. And I think I think that they do a tremendous job of that. Heather, Joe, do you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
definitely trust their team.
Yes, absolutely. And Eric is the type of person. Edel is pretty quiet and goes with the flow, and Eric is the type of person that that he can diffuse anything. I don't think I've ever seen him raise his voice or get upset. And again, he gives you instruction of what he wants, and he allows you to perform that. And if it's not quite exactly what he's looking for, then he gives a little more guidance, but he does give the actors the space to be their best.
I love that. I love that. And, you know, Eric, I'm dying to meet him personally. You know, you've spoken over the phone, we've seen each other on Facebook, so forth, so on. And I've never physically gotten to meet him and Prana. And I'm looking forward to that date where we can personally meet and, you know, um, um, see how it is, because I get these personalities and I see it all, everything that you guys are saying, but you know, sometimes you just got to physically meet the person and be like, yeah, you know, I totally see what everybody's saying. But he strikes me as if he's the nicest person. I mean, from what I've seen, you know, it looks like they really enjoyed their birthday. They were out here in Georgia for their for his birthday last week. So again, happy birthday, Eric. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to ask, and I'll start because I'll start with you again, Heather. What is your biggest accomplishment?
Gee, I hate talking about myself. I'd say, I mean, honestly, my biggest accomplishment, it's not necessarily the movie related, but my children. And it's funny because they actually are the ones that got me into the acting and such. But my biggest accomplishment is still ongoing when it comes to filming and acting and behind the scenes. I do have some things that are in the works that I feel like are going to be pretty huge once the final, we're waiting on one little thing, and then it can all be announced. And that's going to be huge for me. But unfortunately, I can't really talk about that. I know there's a lot of that going on, but until it's official, it's not official.
Absolutely, that's absolutely understood. And Heather, whenever you're ready to come back, and you know, you have my contact info, you have my personal contact info. Whenever you're ready to come back, please let me know of all these big secrets that you got going on, because I know that you do a lot. I know you do, because you're the one that normally contacts me and to set up these interviews and stuff. So I just want you to know that myself, I greatly appreciate you for, you know, all that, you know, you do or that you have done in uniting the Love Song and Power cast along with the Lunchtime with Anna show.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. I have fun doing it and meeting new people like yourself and personalities, and it's great. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Josh, same question for you. What is your biggest accomplishment?
Oof. I'm kind of the same way with Heather. It's like oof. Let's see. film related, I would probably say a film I did is actually that film I did up in Virginia. It's called Real Life, with some amazing friends of mine, and it did very well in the festival circuit. And I think, take the awards out of it, because honestly, awards don't matter if you can just change one person's life by viewing your film or listening to your music, or
Absolutely.
hearing you sing. I honestly think it's all worth it. So a lot of accolades, awards, whatever. But I think that film really kind of touched a lot of people. So at least that's the feedback I got. So that's probably what I'm most proud of.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think if we and I think if we entail that into all of our lives, I think the world would be a better place. That if you can just change somebody's life by something that you've done, in a positive way, then what bigger accomplishment than that? I totally get that and where you're coming from with that. That's touching because it's true, and I wish more of the world would be like that and see things that way. Makes sense. To you, Joe, same question. What is your biggest
Yeah, and
accomplishment?
thanks for the question.
Mhm.
Yeah, personally, my biggest I'm like them. I don't like talking about myself, so I'm just going to say it. Personally, is becoming an optometric physician, and having my daughter. You interviewed her, and professionally,
Yes, she's beautiful. I mean, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful in her pictures, but a great interviewer too.
oh, great, thanks. Film-wise, I'm starting to really understand cinematography, which it's much harder than anyone could imagine. But I'm really starting to get that. I would say that's my biggest accomplishment.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now, quick question for you, Joseph, because I know
Mhm.
you are a doctor, correct? In real life, is that like
Yes,
out of
yeah, I
out of
know.
the rules? And I know that's your. Have you ever like looked, for any of the movies that you've done or any of the stories that you've written, so forth, so on, books, whatever, or directed? Have you ever looked at anybody and been like, wow, this reminds me of this movie? Or has that ever crossed? And I know, because of HIPAA, there's certain things, but have you ever had a situation like that, or had a patient that maybe inspired you to write something?
Yeah, that is a good question, Anna. Yes, absolutely. Patient of mine is the one that got me into the industry. Not that I'm in the industry, but what little bit I'm in it, he totally got me into it.
So,
His name's
isn't
Al
that something?
Quinn. He he's gone now, but yeah. So, and there's a lot of patients that remind me of characters. I usually will tell them. They kind of crack up at it, but
You will, and they'll be like, really? And then they want to know all the information, right, for the movie. And you're like, yeah, you can get it.
it does open up a can of worms. But it's fun.
Absolutely. No, it just seems like something fun. And the reason why I ask is because a lot of times, and I'm sure you know this, I have medical and dental training. And I would have to find a connection with the patients, something that would them, remind me of them the next time they came in or whatever it may be, and something to compliment or something to ask them about. And it would be things like that I would bring up, like something like, oh, you remind me of so and so character from this that I saw, or whatever the case may be. Or if they said as they were coming in, oh, I have 3 kids and they're all sick, so the next time I would ask them, how are the kids? And they'll be like, oh, she remembered. So it's kind of notes that you
That's
keep. I'm sure
awesome.
you know that. I'm sure you know to just
Wow.
kind of keep those notes
Great.
for when they come in. I mean, that's just the way I learned to do my job, but I don't know, how everybody did it at their office they worked at. But yeah, I think it keeps them happy or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So now, anything else that any of you guys want to add about Love Song and Power for the listening audience? And all of whoever wants can answer.
So
I
can
will
I?
go ahead and,
Go ahead.
oh, go ahead, Joe. You go first, Joe.
I was wanting to say something about Eric, but go ahead.
Go ahead. Say what you have to say about Eric.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned Eric's birthday, and last year I produced a little birthday video for him at his birthday party, and I'm not a good interviewer or interviewee, but I asked his friends questions and about him, what they liked about him and whatnot, and I could not believe. Actually, I believe it, but I wish I could play it for you someday, but the responses, I mean, these people love him as much as I do. I mean, it's just incredible. They're loved, right?
Mm-hmm.
They
Absolutely.
Anyway.
With I would go along with what Joe said, that there really isn't anybody that I know that does not like them. Yes, there's a business side. So maybe in that aspect, people that don't want to be honest are going to not like them. But as people themselves, they're great people. All three of them, Edel, Eric, Prana, Eric and Prana balance each other out, perfectly, I would say. But as far as a working environment, you couldn't ask for a better crew. You really couldn't. So I will always work. If they offer something for me to be a part of, I would definitely do it, simply because I know the kind of environment that they have. And if somebody causes issues on set, if somebody is a diva and wants all the attention to them, anything along those lines, they don't allow it. So there is no drama on set.
You know what? And I love that because, you hear of these Hollywood divas, you know what I'm saying? So I like that because it shows their heart and it shows that they're down to earth. I'm looking forward to filming the part that we are next month. And, we'll get together with dates on that to make sure that everything's confirmed and panned out and ready to go for next month here at the studio. We'll physically be there. So yeah. So anyhow, yeah, that would make sense because I'm the same way, like professional Anna to co-pastor Anna to human justice organization Anna to, lunchtime with Anna. You're going to get different sides of me if you're just meeting me under that that part of my life, but it's all the different things that I do on a day-to-day basis. I wear all these different hats. On top of it, I'm a mom with the special needs teenage son, and I have different, different Annas, I would say, that you meet, and that's why I was saying earlier, and I agree with you, Heather, I'm so specific on schedules because I got so much to do. Like, it's one of these, okay, if I don't get it done, then it's going into my next project, and then things are piling up, and especially I was down for about 2 weeks, so I totally get what you're saying. So I'm the same way. But with them as with you, and I'm sure Joe and Josh are the same way. I'm sure they're like, okay, I know I'm acting, but we said this time, so I'm kind of expecting this time, it's just the schedules that we have. So, okay, do you guys agree, or is that
Anna, I didn't know that about you. We need to interview you. That's incredible.
No. I don't like. I really don't like. Now I'm blushing. I hope. Oh my gosh, I don't like saying too much about myself because then I feel like I'm bragging. I'm like, But it is true. I'm very I love people so much, and I can see it with Eric and Prana. And from what so far I've heard of this movie, and anybody who's watched um, the different casts being interviewed, this movie is going to be good. I'm looking forward to January 20th, 2021. That is the opening date. Is that correct, or am I wrong on the date so far?
Now,
I'm
that's at this point in time in life, that's kind of has to be fluid. But of course, we have a goal.
absolutely.
I would say for the people, not all the characters, and this is the way it pretty much is across the board with acting. Not all the characters get the privilege of reading the whole script. They get
Absolutely.
a section of their script and their part. And part of that has to do with because of non-disclosures.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Then
It's
you
not
just don't have
uncommon.
any issues with it.
Yeah,
But
right.
fortunately, because of my position with behind the scenes, I've been able to read the whole script because I have to also do scheduling and planning out with each individual scene. And I have to say that it is a great story that obviously there's ups and downs like with any story. But it is a good message. It's not risque. There's not language. And it's a good overall message that people need to see. Sometimes we screw up. Sometimes we need to be set straight again. And that's how
Absolutely.
we learn in life. So,
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Heather. I totally agree with you. And Heather, I have a question. Out of Because you're a woman, and you know, you can probably help other growing young ladies around the world. If there's anything that you can tell a young lady out there growing up that wants to get into this industry, what would you say?
you do need to find somebody that you can trust to help guide you along because there is a lot of traps you can get into.
Yes, ma'am. I agree with that completely.
Yes, and that's regardless, man or woman, child, whatever, because there's a lot of people that are out there that won't actually get you where you need to go. They just want your money. Or, one of the things I was just reading on Facebook from a photographer that I know was mentioning that you do not ever need to be alone in the room with the photographer. There's no reason, even in COVID, that you couldn't even take a parent with you. Things along those lines that you think that will, especially because of COVID having different rules, they said I had to be there by myself, stuff along those lines. And if you're trying to get into the industry, you don't know what your rights really are. So definitely find somebody that can mentor you and help guide you.
Absolutely. You know what? That was really good. Because most people wouldn't know that, and they might even tell a parent if it's a child, boy or girl, they might say, come back here on your own, or, alone, and the parent not knowing, allow it, and many things can happen, especially with all that goes on now more than ever. It's more viewable, as we all know, around the world, and things that happen with children. So, yeah, that's, wow. Yeah, that's good. Huh?
There's a saying that one of my mentors, touching on what Heather had said, there's a saying that I've kind of had to live by, and you get 99 no's for every one yes, and all of those no's don't mean you're worthless. They mean that somebody hasn't seen your worth. And I think, especially for young women coming up in this industry, it's very important to understand that you are worth more than anyone can ever explain to you. And just because someone doesn't respect that one person doesn't respect that, doesn't mean that there's not another person right behind them that's not going to see who you are and the talent that you have.
Exactly. One of the other things that I thought was just amazing learning was they are also often looking for a very specific look, regardless of how talented you are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have that exact look that's in their mind, it doesn't matter. So just because you have those 99 no's does not mean you're not talented. It just means keep going.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that it makes total sense. Is there anything else that any of the three of you would like to add to that? Okay.
I
Go ahead.
appreciate you bringing us on here. It's a lot of fun. Thank you.
It has. It has, and I've really enjoyed you guys. I really have. I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next segment, and then I'm going to come back to the three of you so that you guys can give contact information for your to reach you off air. Okay, Kira, are you on air?
Yes. Hello.
How are
Can you hear
you?
me?
Wind Up Wednesday with Kira Devon, my dear friend. How
Hello,
are you?
everyone. Oh my
Hello.
goodness. I'm so excited. Hi, Anna. I have two parts. Can I do just two parts real quick?
You have, yes, you have 7 minutes, so you're
Okay.
good.
Because you asked the question about what would you tell a young girl trying to get into the industry, right? And I
Yes,
really wanted to just add to what was said.
absolutely.
Can I do that? Is that okay?
Yes, of course. Go ahead, Kira.
Okay. I would tell any woman, young lady, man, boy, or girl that they have choices. And I don't know if that was already said, but to remember that you always have choices. And a lot of times, naive girls, boys, whatever. I appreciated what she said about you don't ever have to be alone in the room with the photographer or, camera guy, anything like that. Totally appreciate that. But also to remember that they have choices. They do not have to do anything that's compromising or that they feel in their heart is not right, as well as making a decision on if that's something that they're comfortable with. A lot of times there are, explicit scenes, and somebody just coming into the industry might not know that they don't have to do those things, that they can get a stand-in or they can get a body double or they can, maneuver the scene in such a way where the people never even, really touch. So just things like that. Second part,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. The second part is I just wanted to just throw some words out there. Love, share, and serve. Love yourself, love others, and don't be afraid to share your gifts and your talents as well as serve. It's nothing wrong with serving your friend, making sure that your friend is okay and if they need anything, even if it's a stranger. So I just want to add to remember during these times to love, share, and serve. It's okay. Do it without judgment. And I think we're all in this together. And if we stay in it together, we can all win together. So that's my Wind Up Wednesday. I love you guys. This is just
Don't
crazy.
doesn't it seem like they're family, Kira? Because you've interviewed all of them with me. Well, you've been there while I've interviewed all of them, and been kind of listening and then calling in. Doesn't it seem like it's just like I'm dying to like just be there and just meet everybody and just give them all a big hug, and I'm Latina, so I really like to hug, and then I'm having a hard time with this whole COVID, so
I know. And it feels like we know bits and pieces. Like how like the directors look at the screen as the the scene is going on. I feel like I was able to like look at the screen a little bit and then the screen went off and then it went back and now I'm like, what's gonna happen next?
yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so me too. So Kira, before you get off air, if you could give your contact information to the cast, I'm sorry, to the listening audience.
Oh, okay. So I
Oh,
am
wait.
Keara Devon, Keara on Instagram, and my website, KearaDevon.com, is where you can find me.
And Kira, if you don't mind, and I hope this is okay that I say this on air. If you guys could, please send a prayer out to Kira and her family. She lost her grandmother this weekend. So please, if you guys could, keep her in your prayers and her family. Was that okay, Kira?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. I love you very much, honey. Joseph, can you please give your contact information before getting off air?
I don't really have contact information. I don't check my email. I'm not on the internet, and text message. But no one's going to want to contact me. Heather, how about yours?
I love it.
Check your email. You have information.
Yeah. You know. Go ahead, Heather.
Oh, so mine is Heather Stett, Steht, and I'm on Facebook and IMDb.
Okay. Okay, so they can always reach out to you there. And I'm going to tell you guys, Heather is really, we text often. Heather's really a nice person, and I'm sure, especially any pointers, I'm sure young ladies, women, young boys, contact her, if need be, and maybe she could steer you in the right direction, because that's what it's all about. That's how we're going to make this world a better place, with people like her that maybe are willing to take that extra step to help because they understand, or they know, or they've seen things, so we never know. And Heather, thank you for that, and thank you for interviewing. Josh, are you still on air?
Thank you.
Hi, Josh.
Yeah.
Could you please give the listening audience contact information for how to reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few different places. Instagram's a great one. I'm at josh.brusso. It is BRUSSEAU. You can also contact me through joshbrusso.com. It's my website. Facebook at Josh Brusso. There's a lot of different ways. Any of it all comes into one little address, so I'm able to check that often. But once again, I really appreciate you guys having me on.
I appreciate each and every one of you guys taking the time to interview. I'm not sure. I'm sure Heather will get back with me, see if there's anybody else that we needed to interview from Love Song and Power. If not, each and every one of you guys are welcome to come back and interview, on different projects or whatever that you guys are working on. That is not a problem with me. So just get in contact with Heather, or contact me via social media, or Heather, Eric can give you guys my personal number to go ahead and reach out to me, okay? And I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank
Great.
you.
Anna.
Thank you.
No problem. I will see you guys next week on Lunchtime with Anna. Looking forward to it. God bless each and every one of you guys. Please, please, please love each other. Have compassion for one another. And again, this was the cast of Love Song and Power, some of the cast on Love Song and Power. You guys have a wonderful week. See you guys next Wednesday. Ciao. Bye.
Bye.